Today we will be exploring the topic of war breaking out in Europe. Four nations, Britain, France, Germany, and Italy, all competed for colonies in Africa and Asia. Since they had fewer colonies than Britain and France, Germany thought that they deserved more colonies to provide resources and buy their goods. Europeans had very strong feelings of pride, loyalty, and protectiveness toward their own countries, also known as nationalism. In 1914, a network of competing alliances bound European nations together. Any small conflict could lead to a war. Two of the main alliances are the Central Powers and the Allies. The Central Powers were made up of Austria-Hungary, Germany, the Ottoman Empire, and Bulgaria. The Allies were Serbia, Russia, France, and Great Britain. When the war began, most people thought it would be over in a few months. Germany's main goal was France. The German army invaded Belgium on August 4th, 1914. The Germans continued to fight their way west into France. The First Battle of Marne in September 1914 stopped the German advance. The type of warfare that was used at the beginning of the war was trench warfare. In this type of warfare, troops were huddled at the bottom of the trenches along with all the rats. The soldiers fired artillery and machine guns. The soldiers faced many difficulties while in the trenches. The soldiers faced the constant threat of sniper fire and the possibility of poison gas. Later in the war, new technology was introduced. Some of the new technology was the tank, planes, machine guns that could fire 600 bullets a minute, and submarines. The Germans primarily used submarines, called U-boats. When the war started in 1914, President Wilson had announced a policy of neutrality, refusing to take sides in the war. In the fall, Britain set up a naval blockade of German ports, taking all goods bound for Germany. Their submarines sank all Allied merchant ships they found off the British coast. Then in May 1915, a German U-boat had torpedoed the British passenger ship Lusitania, where it killed 1,198 people, including 128 Americans. This sinking had many Americans against Germany. Wilson had kept the U.S. neutral and demanded for Germany to have restricted submarine warfare. At the election of 1916, there was the Democratic Party's campaign slogan, "He kept us out of war," getting Wilson reelected. Germany had been wanting to defeat Britain, so they resumed unrestricted submarine warfare, which they knew would bring the U.S. into the war. With the Zimmermann telegram, the German foreign minister had told the German ambassador in Mexico to propose that Germany to join the Germans, where they could help Mexico get back its lost territories. Counting Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona, yet this had been making the Americans even more furious. In March, the German submarines sank 3 American ships, which pushed Wilson for asking for a declaration of war. A Russian army had been outfought by a smaller German army in 1915 and led by better trained officers. Because of this, Tsar Nicholas II wanted to step and control himself, but this poor leadership was blamed for more deaths. By 1917, there were many food shortages, which led to riots everywhere, and soaring inflation led to strikes by angry workers around Russia. Nicholas II was to step down, and a temporary government continued the unpopular war until November. The war had devastated Russia, so they had begun peace talks with Germany. So in March of 1918, Russia had withdrawn from the war by signing the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. Now the German troops could turn from Russia to the Western Front, and the Allies had urged the American troops to come to the front.